and start with this guy. So I want to cover a few things. We're going to be potting into the self-watering pot, so I will cover this specific pot. I'm reusing it because I took a pot plant out of it. So remember, and it wasn't a sick plant, so we're not worried about it. So we're gonna put the cable through, or the wick through, the 2 holes in the center. And then you make sure the wick is the same distance underneath, okay? Now this guy is ready. The next step is taking your plant and taking it out of the pot. So the way to take it out of the pot is to support the plant, turn it upside down. Depending on the plant, it might come out easy and it might be difficult. So this one's coming out easy. This guy is not root bound at all. He's got plenty of roots, or plenty of soil for him, but I needed a plant to use it as an example, and this is what I had. So the next step is to see whether or not you need to add soil to the base, okay? So remember, before you get started, you are going to be putting soil in to an appropriate height on the plant. You want to make sure you're not burying any stems that are not currently, under the soil line, and no leaves. Because I have seen that happen, so I just want to make sure you're aware of it. So we're going to take this plant, see where it lands in the pot, to see if we need to add some soil to make it up higher in the pot or not. And sometimes the plants are up too tall in the pot, and you actually need to shave off some soil off the bottom. So the first step is getting the right height, okay? This guy's a little bit low in the soil, so I'm going to add a little soil to the bottom of this before I put the plant in. Now use the appropriate soil for what you're potting. This is a self-watering pot, so I'm using self-watering soil. This is a plant that's appropriate for a self-watering pot. Okay, so now I've added some soil. You want to make sure that the top of the plant, the soil line, is below the rim of the pot. You don't want it so high that you can't water it, okay? You want to be able to water the top without it falling out. And I would say a perfect amount for this size pot is about 1/2 inch. The bigger the pot, the more room you leave up at the top. Okay, continuing on. So you want to make sure that that is the right height in there, okay? Now, once you have the right height, what you're going to do is you're going to hold the plant in place. So you want the plant centered in the middle with the right height. And you also want to make sure the plant isn't leaning in one direction or another. You want it standing straight up and down. So sometimes we'll get plants from growers that may actually be leaning sideways like this when we get them. So the flat part of the soil is going to keep it leaning sideways. You might have to put it in there at an angle to have the plant standing up straight and down. If it's at maybe in there, you might be holding it where the soil is actually at an angle, but that makes the plant stand straight up and down. Your goal is to have this plant stand straight up and down. So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. So now you're holding it in the center with one hand, with it standing up straight up and down. Now you take soil and you're going to fill in around the outside. So that's going to mean that you actually rotate the pot so that you can do that. And when you're filling in quite a bit of soil, I usually just go ahead and use a big thing. If it's a small amount of soil, a spoon works better. smooth the soil down across the top of it, okay? Smooth it down. Don't push it. You're just gently moving it so that it is level. You're just leveling it out. Okay, so there's no pushing. Once you kind of get it level in there, what you're going to do is to fill in the gaps. You're not going to push because there's going to be gaps into this. You're going to pound it on something, and you can also hit it with your hand to get it down. Now, this particular plant, this is just specific to this plant. I'm going to take the soil line up a little bit. It's very wobbly. This stem has had a lot of leaves come off of it. So I'm only adding a little bit, so I'm just going to put a little in there. And mind you, you're making this adjustment after, and it's not very much. Okay, so this guy is repotted. He's in the center. He's standing straight up and down. He's got room for water. Now he's going to go in the pot, okay? And now that he's in the pot, we're going to water him. Now watering. You water around the whole circumference of the plant, okay? Rotate it so that you can get around the entire edge. Now, once you water it, you have everything just slightly damp. Now you can press very gently, like think about a piece of bread, like pressing on a piece of really soft bread. You're just going to gently touch it. You're not going to push down hard. You don't want to compact the soil, okay? All right, so this guy is repotted. We're not done yet because we want this to look nice as it's sitting out for people to purchase. So wipe off all the soil. Make sure you get it off the bottom. Wipe it off, and then oftentimes soil will get on the leaves when you're repotting, especially if you're kind of pouring, like, I don't know, I see soil on the leaves a lot, especially if you're not pouring really close to the soil line or up higher, it can just splash all over. So you're going to want to wash the plant off. Get all the soil off the leaves. If it's splattered onto the leaves, take it off. If you have the opportunity to go inside where the sink is, down in the basement, then you can use that. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to clean off the leaves if they need it, and you're going to clean off the edge of this pot. So the plant looks nice and the leaves look nice. Now, as you can see, this plant is a little wobbly in this pot. I don't want to bury it too deeply in there. So what happens a lot of times when plants are a little bit wobbly is people will just put it lower and lower into the soil to use the soil to support the plant. That works for some plants, but for the majority, if you're better off giving the plant a little bit of support and letting it get anchored in there. So I'm going to put this in here and lean the plant on it for right now. Now, as the plant gets happier, it'll get stronger and we can probably take that out. But this is the finished product right now. It's more stable in the pot. It's not moving around. The pot is clean. The top is clean because there's always dirt along the top edge. The leaves are clean. And now it's ready for a price tag and to go out onto our shelves.